So officially, a big official welcome to our March office hours spring cleaning edition. Today, I'm joined by my colleague and a personal friend, actually, Emily Tidyman. I am a product marketing manager at G2. I work very closely with our product teams, specifically aligned to our core profile offering, as well as our review generation campaigns and tools and management capabilities. I'll just turn it over to Emily really quick to give a little intro about herself, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Thanks so much, Nicole. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Tidyman. As Nicole mentioned, I'm a customer success manager here at G2. And for the last 2.5 years, I've worked really closely with our commercial and mid-market accounts. So really excited to dive in today and talk about one of my favorite topics, which is optimizing your G2 profile.
Amazing. A little housekeeping before we get into the nitty-gritty and the meat of our office hours. We do have the hand raising functionality enabled on Zoom. So if a question pops up, please feel free to raise your hand. You can also add any questions into the chat. Myself, Emily, Aaron, we will be monitoring the chat and following up with any questions that come up during our next hour together. Additionally, we will be sending out a recording, so please don't feel like you need to take any frantic notes unless you would like to. I am a note taker, so that's totally fine. And then, as always, we have our G2 University available from your My G2 profile account. So anytime you want to learn more tips and tricks on demand, you can certainly do so from there. And then just a little bit backwards here about office hours. This is a place where we meet on a monthly basis to come together and learn and network and just inspire our customers and maybe other vendors who are interested in G2 to maximize G2 to its full potential. Every month we have a different theme. So here you are at spring cleaning office hours. Today's topics are all about the profile, showcasing your product or solution offering with custom content, optimizing your profile to capture demand with CTAs, and creating a profile that is ready to convert buyers and prospects that are looking for you. Okay, and a couple grounding stats before we get started here. So what is so great about G2 product profiles? Well, they are optimized to receive 17 times more traffic than those that are not. So really having a profile that is accurately representative of your brand will pay dividends in the long run. They also receive 8 times higher traffic than the competition. So again, more traffic to you, more prospective buyers. Additionally, 90% of buyers that are looking to either switch software or purchase new software eventually start or end on G2. And a little grounding of a product profile itself. An easy example is our own. Myself, a product marketer, and our customer marketing team take care of our G2 profiles. So we work together usually on a quarterly basis as a best practice to keep it updated and optimized. If our go-to-market changes, we'll get into all of those best practices in just a moment. But here's just a visual representation of how we are really leaning into our profile on G2.com. All right, so now you're probably wondering, okay, great, but what about me? So we're going to go step by step with some tactics on how you can first optimize your profile to maximize conversions. Lots of big words. All right, here we go. So before we get started here, let's just talk about how G2 defines a buyer conversion rate. We're going to talk a lot about conversion rates because that's how we measure the success of the features that we are putting on the profiles to help you all in your journey to find more buyers and convert them. So for us at G2, a buyer's conversion rate is defined as stated here: the number of visitors to G2 that complete a desired goal, for example, a CTA click, free trial, a lead completion, divided by the total number of visitors on the category, product, compare page, or alternatives pages. Again, please stop me at any time and let me know if there's anything in the chat that needs my attention. My notifications are off, Erin and Emily, so if I need to stop, just make a wave. Perfect. So it all starts with your profile. A strong profile that engages buyers is the foundation of success on G2. Super important. This product information tab in my G2 is probably the first place you will land. Maybe this is not new news to you, but it's always good to stay grounded here. You might have updated this maybe a year ago and your go-to-market has changed. This is the place you go to make category updates, logo updates, banners, badge, company details, and how you position yourself against competitors. Very important tip here. Every page on G2 is indexed by Google. So any AdWords you can add to the descriptions for SEO is a great plus. So focusing on those go-to-market changes, expanding into categories, new offerings, etc. Definitely tap into this section to make those updates on those quarterly basis time to maximize your profile from an SEO perspective. Moving right along for more of a visual look into your solution. Adding screenshots and videos might seem like a no-brainer, but again, it's a good reminder that it does increase conversion up to 14%. For me, I usually don't buy anything without seeing it. I'm sure you probably don't either. Just buying a car, I wouldn't have bought my car if I hadn't seen it before being able to purchase it myself. It can go for many other things like jeans. You get the gist. We're also helping buyers, and you are helping your own buyers, giving them these visuals so they are more educated, stepping into conversations with sales, and you can be more solution and goal focused in those conversations. Similarly, but a little bit different, you can go a step further by actually adding interactive demos to your product profile. So we have our visuals with screenshots, we have our videos, but giving those buyers or prospects another area to tap into by actually going through a live demo on their own. So opening up those doors to those buyers, you can add in an interactive demo and increase conversion by up to 75%. I know for myself, test driving a car sealed the deal for me, right? So maybe giving like that aspect to your profile, let them test drive a little bit, and then help you with those conversations along the way from the sales perspective. Real quick pro tip as well, you will see all of the providers as well for interactive demos right now. We are constantly adding to this plethora of providers. So if you are currently using an interactive demo provider and they are not listed here, please feel free to follow up and let us know who they are. I'd be happy to share the name with our product team and hopefully get them added to the list. Yes, that is correct, Karen. At this time, we support these demo providers, but we are constantly looking to add more. So if you want to even throw a recommendation into the chat, we'll get it over to our product team. Thank you so much. All right. And with that, I'm going to pause and pass it over to Emily to talk more about utilizing these tools to capture demand with CTAs, trial buttons, and lead forms.
Thank you so much, Nicole. So yes, as we mentioned, we're going to dive into all of the ways to equip your profile to ensure that we're capturing the active buyers that are interacting with all of that content that Nicole just described. One thing I want to mention is 85% of the traffic that we see on G2 comes from our organic SEO. We rank really well on Google. We pride ourselves in that. So think of your G2 profile. At times, this might be the first time a prospective buyer is discovering your software product. So we want to ensure that we're capturing these buyers and then converting them as well. I also want to throw in that ensuring your profile is squeaky clean or optimized also sees a 16% increase in click-through rates on those CTAs and links within your profile. So just another incentive to get into my.g2 and make those updates. So starting with CTA forms, we have the ability to add a custom call to action button on the top right corner of your G2 profile. This can link to the landing page of your choice. So whether your product offers a free trial, a free demo, any landing page that you use to gather leads, let's embed that here, and then you can customize the display text as well. A pro tip: add a UTM at the end of the link. That way we can originate any conversions from that landing page back to G2. In addition to that custom call to action button, right next to it, we'll have a contact button. When that button is clicked by a prospective buyer, they'll then fill out this request to be contact form. This form is modifiable on your end. However, we recommend to keep it brief because lengthy lead forms tend to decrease conversions. So keep it very concise here. I also want to mention that for all of the Chili Piper users that are on the call, we have a direct integration. So if and when that integration is implemented, after a buyer fills out this request to be contact form, they then can book a meeting with your sales team directly from G2. So it's a really great way to get these active prospective buyers directly in front of your sales team. Then a second step here, if you don't have the Chili Piper integration, do not fret. Whenever a prospective buyer fills out that request to be contacted form, we can funnel these leads directly into your CRM using webhooks and integrations. This is one thing as a CSM that I constantly see being underutilized. It's just a really great way to ensure that these aren't being missed quarter after quarter. And then stepping away from leads for a second, let's talk about website traffic. Track Your Prospects is going to be the best way to see how G2 is boosting traffic to your website. All that it takes is embedding a pixel within your website, or pro tip, if you use Google Tag Manager, it's very seamless. Once that is implemented, we'll be able to see the bounce back and forth between visitors visiting your G2 profile and your website. A hypothetical example, maybe a visitor started on your website and then went to g2.com to read your reviews, or the reverse, they discovered you on G2 and then went to your website. Track Your Prospects will allow you to see the exact pages they viewed, the time spent between each page, as well as firmographic information. You can view these trends really nice with that graph chart that you see there, which is a really nice way to analyze traffic trends over time. And then you can also export all of this data via CSV as well. And then last but not least, as we know, people don't come to G2 for fun. They come to G2 because they're actively considering software to purchase. So why not give those buyers an exclusive deal? So if your software has purchasing capabilities without the need to talk to sales, in other words, they can just click to purchase, I would highly recommend considering G2 deals. This essentially gives those buyers on G2 an exclusive discount. We commonly see between 15 and 20%. And then from there, they can purchase that software directly from G2. The deals will display on our category pages, your product page, g2.com/deals, as well as promotional materials that we release on a quarterly basis.
Awesome. We also did that G2 Deals Day, our very first. It was like a spin on Amazon Prime Day, but for G2 earlier this quarter. So all of the vendors that have deals just got that extra level of promotion during that time. So just another plug for G2 Deals, a really cool feature that's offered to tap into another way of reaching those prospective buyers.
Exactly. And question in the chat, Lauren, you can actually submit your G2 deal directly from my.g2. It's going to be under the product information section in its own dedicated area titled G2 Deals.
Great. One other.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, before we move on, this is probably that tactic 2 is by far our most technical portion of the presentation. So if there's any questions related to leads, CTAs, traffic, feel free to let me know.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. Do you want to answer the second question in the chat?
I know, I just saw that come through. Lauren, why don't you, what is the name, what organization are you at? And we can take this offline.
Stick it in the chat. And then while Lauren is adding that into the chat, there was one other item that came to mind that I just wanted to share here as well when it comes to leads. Another place to update within my G2 are your lead emails. So in G2, we give you the ability to add emails to get instant notifications when a lead comes through. And so while you have your integrations perhaps set up with Chili Piper, HubSpot, you have a connector going on there. Maybe you just want the extra level to see what else is coming through your email as maybe a marketer. For me as a product marketer, I do see support type inquiries come through every once in a while. And for me, I personally just do my due diligence, checking them out as they come through. It takes a couple extra minutes out of my day, and I can funnel that information to the right team. So just another pro tip on how we are using our own G2 profile. It's kind of meta to maximize what we can do and stay on top of like what people are needing from us. Even if they're not buying, they just need help. All right. And speaking of, I was actually just updating our G2 profile with, well, we have a couple. So I was updating them with Erin, our customer marketer, as well. So spring cleaning is definitely top of mind over here as well. Like I said, we do try to do our cleanups on a quarterly basis. We're all human, but I recommend setting a reminder on your calendar or whatever project management system you use. Seems basic, but helps me stay in line. On this section, we're just going to talk about all of the connection touch points that are available. So the more places that you're able to reach the buyer, the better. So there are over 5 opportunities that buyers can reach out to you. So we're just going to talk about how you can maximize them outside of those CTAs and lead buttons. So adding downloads to provide a more in-depth information about your solution. So these downloads can be either one-pagers, ebooks, playbooks, whatever piece of content that I would say includes a little bit more heavy reading. This is a great place for a download. And they are videos and downloads are gated experiences on the profile. So another recommendation for us is that while they are gated, if you don't currently go to market by gating your downloads, you can ungate those experiences just by submitting a support ticket. But for example, if you ungate or if you do gate your downloads on other marketing materials, then we would recommend gating it on this side as well, just to complete that holistic strategy across wherever you are listed, whether it's G2 or your website. Pricing and packaging. So we have pricing and packaging and security on this slide, but I'm first going to touch on the pricing and packaging piece. This is a taboo subject. I know as a marketer in software, we're not always willing and able to give up our exact pricing and packaging. However, there are ways where you can still be I guess, compliant with what you can provide to your prospective buyers. So for example, while we don't have the dollar amounts listed on our profile, we're still really detailed and thoughtful about how we share our packages. We want people to know before they get on the phone with sales or on a call or talk to anyone at G2 what they can expect from our different packages. So that's why we've taken this approach by adding the packaging in here while maybe not adding the pricing just yet. So that's another piece to add, as well as those contact us buttons. Going back to examples of when you're purchasing on other websites as well, how annoying is it to get to a listing and then just not even know anything about the packaging or what is included? Maybe you're ordering a gift and it's a basket, but you have no idea what's in the basket. This is just an example of how you can think about being more methodical when adding pricing and packaging. It's also another place where you can interact with your buyers by having those different buttons there, hitting them right where they are, looking for that pricing, getting them into the pipeline. Another example of getting the information in front before making their way to sales is our security badges. So this year, we're going to be adding more and more security providers. So you can add your security information to your profile. This just creates a more in-depth profile for you on G2. And we know that about 86% of buyers are looking for pricing security information before they make a decision. So I know myself as from purchasing software, security is extremely important. I don't even always know where to go to get that information, maybe reaching out to the rep. It's really simple and easy to get it right from G2, where they're already conducting a lot of analysis in their buying journey, making it a lot easier for them to close up that deal and get started with hopefully your solution. As a product marketer, I would be remiss not to bring up custom questions because they are a feature of our review form. So I really like custom questions because it gives us another level of detail into how we're performing as a company and a solution. So you are able to add up to 2 custom questions to your review form. And when you're having buyers land on your profile, maybe they have used you in the past and they're going to write a review real quick. Or maybe you have a current customer on your profile because they're maybe interested in an alternative, but they're going to write a review. You can get really great information from the custom questions that you enable on the review form. They show up on all of the review forms, whether or not you're using the standard, the short form, through our integrations like Pendo or Delighted, our API, you name it, those custom questions will always be included in the review form to get a little bit more deeper insights into your performance. Perfect. And then before we go into some best practices and takeaways, I just wanted to pause for any questions or any other topics that we could maybe dig into a little deeper that piqued your interest. I'll also check the chat. Okay. Well, I will hope that it's thorough. More about custom questions. Yeah, so custom questions actually can be enabled by submitting a support ticket. So right within my G2, you can submit a ticket and then you are able to add in what you are looking for those types of questions. Our support team is equipped with almost hand-holding you into the right questions to be asking and the best way to ask them. Because what good is a question that maybe is not asked correctly or is confusing to the person reviewing? So we also have a lengthy list of best practices for custom questions that I can work to maybe try to slide into our wrap-up blog article that we will do after office hours, so you can dig in and learn more. We also have a listing, and I apologize, I can't go onto another screen here while I'm sharing, but on our technical documentation, we also have more information into custom questions, so you can change them up with your go-to-market, like mentioned at the beginning of the call. If anything's ever changing, change up those custom questions as well. Yes, we will be sharing the deck after the call. Thank you so much. And also mentioned, we are now doing blog posts as well to curate this into a little bit more digestible bite-sized pieces to take away quick hits. Okay, any other questions? All right, we'll keep moving along and then we can always go back into more. And Emily, did you have anything to add about custom questions? I just didn't want to steamroll you.
No. I think the only thing I would mention is that in regards to the review form, they're not required, but they are the first questions to display after the required questions. So they are really well positioned to encourage review respondents to interact with them.
Great tip. All right, so best practices and some takeaways, need to knows here. We are running a little ahead of schedule, but that is totally okay. We can dive in a little bit more as we go. So I will hand it over to Emily for some best practices, and then I'll kind of take away with the takeaways.
Perfect. So I know we've said this as many times as possible, but we do recommend giving your G2 profile a refresh every quarter just to ensure that all of the content and resources and copy is the most accurate and up to date and really the best reflection of your current go-to-market strategy. I know it's funny, I work with customer marketers and product marketers on a day-to-day basis. So it was really fun collaborating with Nicole on this office hours. And I know that there's a ton of other priorities that come about, but we want to ensure that that these active buyers that are coming to G2 are getting the most up-to-date and relevant information about your product. So just a pro tip there. Additionally, under the product information section, we now have a timestamp letting you know the last time you made updates to all of those descriptions, banner images, etc. So this is a really great way to look back to see if and when we're due for a refresh. Best practice number 2, diving into G2 as a core offering of our reviews. We really recommend our vendors to respond to reviews, whether positive or negative. If it's a negative review, G2 is a really fantastic tool to transparently alleviate that situation and ideally flip that review to a positive one moving forward. If it is a positive review, say thanks for the praise, right? That's, again, a really great way to transparently interact with your customers and users and keep that camaraderie going. Tip number 3 is add packaging and pricing. While I totally understand a lot of software products don't explicitly or transparently give the exact number for your different pricing packages. What you could do though instead is an open table style, where maybe you indicate each package with $1 sign, $2 sign, $3 sign, or just give a little bit more copy or information on the way your packages work. This is really important because 1, we do have CTAs available within the pricing section of the G2 profile. So just another way to convert buyers that are interacting with your G2 profile. And number 2, for all of the buyer intent users on the call, we now have an individual pricing signal under our buyer intent signals. And this is a really strong bottom of the funnel signal because we know if they're not only on your profile, but if they're looking into your pricing, they're clearly considering you as a vendor for their software purchase. And then last but not least, we recommend to regularly log into my.g2. We now have helpful notifications to alert you of new integrations, new features, new functionality. As a CSM, I've been here for almost 3 years. I've had so many times where I log in and there's a new thing. So the best way to stay on top of these updates, for example, like the interactive demo, if we release a new integration partner, that will be a notification in my.g2. So keep logging in to stay on top of all of these fun releases.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. One other idea that came to my mind when you were talking about responding to reviews, because I also respond to reviews for G2. And another tip I heard is when you're responding to reviews as well, it's also helping your time on page. So when your customers or buyers are reading your reviews and they're reading your response too, and in turn having a longer life on your page, giving you just the more visual and eyes to your brand. So always respond to those reviews. I know that sometimes it can be scary also to get a bad review, but they are inevitable. And it's not about the review, but how you handle it. A couple takeaways here. So we are the #1 software buyer destination. So that's why we really take pride in the profiles, and we hope that our customers take pride in their profiles as well. We're on a mission to help buyers purchase the best software for them, and it all starts by having that profile set up and ready for them. Your profile is the gateway for buyer intent signals, okay? So your content engages with prospective buyers for longer and leads to more conversions, about 16%, like we said. So when these profiles are optimized, in turn, you will receive about 4 times more reviews. So critical user-based content that can fuel your sales and marketing efforts. This is a profile-focused office hours, but with those reviews that are on the profile, that is, the bread and butter. That is, what is leading the ship here. You can use those reviews for so many things, from on your website to widget buttons in your sales marketing efforts, reference pages. That is a direct reflection of your G2 profile. So many ways that you can tap in to those reviews. We can also add a little tidbit to that on the follow-up blog article as well, because from that optimized profile comes more reviews, and you need to know how to use those too. Awesome. Little more G2 goodness here. I mentioned our G2 University, super easy to get in there from my G2, upper right-hand corner. And then the support portal is also accessible from there. So great place to get in contact if you need to make updates to your category, set up custom questions after this. That's your direct line. And then our monthly office hours, we do hold them on a monthly cadence. So recommend starring those 2 URLs there. Just check in the chat here. Yeah, G2 University is super great. Aaron, that is the spearheader of that whole program. It's really fun to work with her on product specific items in there. So everything from your profile to reviews to buyer intent, content, market intelligence, you name it, it's in there. I'll pause. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns that might have come up while we were chatting in these last 30 minutes? Okay. I'll give it one more moment just in case someone wants to add anything into the chat. I will mention the notifications that Emily spoke about earlier in my G2. There is now an email digest that goes out that highlights what notifications have not been actioned on. So if you are finding yourself forgetting to log into my G2, that is okay. We are going to ping you with an email reminder as well, because there are going to be those reminders about reviews being shared, your movement on the grid, low funds for review campaigns. We want that critical information in your hands quicker. So if it's been a minute since logging into my G2, you will receive those emails as well. All right. Any other plugs you want to make, Emily? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
No, I think we got it. I think we covered it all. If anything today interested you, feel free to have those conversations with your account manager or CSM. There's a lot of functionality within my.G2. So it's, again, we just want to make sure that we're not only aware of all this functionality, but that everything is turned on and optimized as it should be. So we appreciate your time today, and yeah, look out for that blog and recording and the deck after we close out. But I think we're at a good stopping point. Nicole, we did it.
Perfect. We will stay on for just a couple more minutes, just in case anyone wants to stay on and ask a question without a large crowd. So we'll be here for just a moment longer. But thank you so much again for showing up and learning more about optimizing that profile. Excited to see those changes.
Thank you, everyone.